Good morning, guys. So today I'm making potato salad with red skin potatoes, and I thought I'd share this recipe. Now I'm gonna film it in parts instead of going straight through because I don't feel like setting up my camera. But if you have any questions, just put them in the comment section, or you can email me at fatpreacherman@gmail.com, or you can text me at 240-274-7147. This is a recipe that I love, and it's very modifiable, but it's real simple too. Just red skin potatoes, celery, a quarter of an onion, mayonnaise, and some seasoning. What I do is I use it in the microwave, but you can boil your potatoes. It takes about, I'd say, 20 minutes, and depending upon how you, well, again, it depends how you like your potato salad. I like mine cold. My wife likes it warm, so she likes it if I make it and then serve it right away. I prefer to make mine and then put it in the fridge and let it set, and that a few hours beforehand, or even the day before, and then it's ready to go. And then I can microwave hers, and so she can have hers warm and I can have mine cold. So it works out for both of us. But however you like yours, and again, if you want to add things to it, like sometimes I'll also add bacon bits to it or things like that, a little bit of ranch dressing, however you do yours. But this is the basics. Red skin potatoes, I leave the skin on. Celery, like I said, and what I'm going to do is I'm sitting down because this is a lot of standing to cut up and then stuff. So first thing I'm going to do is cut up the potatoes, put them in a bowl, put them in the microwave, put them in there for 9 minutes, stir them up, put them in there for another 9 minutes, and then check them. If they're soft, then they're good to go. You want them soft but not mushy. And then once they're soft, then that's when you mix in your cut up celery, then your cut up onions, your mayonnaise, and your seasonings. So I'm going to do all that cutting up, and I'm not going to bore you with cutting things up, but that's all you do. Once I get them cut up, then I'll show you how they look cut up, okay? So I'll see you back in a few minutes. Bye. I'll say tiny, but cubes that are smaller, because if they're too big, then again, it'll be hard for them to heat evenly. So try to get them as around the same size as possible. It won't be perfect, but again, then we're going to put them in for, I'd say, around 8-9 minutes, stir it up, and then do another 8-9 minutes, then we're going to check, and then do it again. These are my celery bits. Same thing, we're going to go for not perfect uniformity, but close to the same size. And then here's my onions. Now for onions, I chose sweet. A sweet onion, a sweet white onion. A lot of people are going with red onions nowadays. Whatever floats your boat, whatever you like. And again, I cut them small. I took a quarter onion and I cut it small because you don't want big long things of onion. You just want something for flavor. And people, well, why celery? Because your potatoes are going to be soft. They're going to give you a soft texture. The celery is going to give you that crunch, so it gives you a different play on the flavors, on the textures in your food. The mayonnaise is going to be mild. The onion is going to give you a bit of sweetness and a bit of acidity, so it's nice. Then the spices we're going to use pepper, we're going to use a little bit of salt. I like to put a little cayenne, a little red pepper in there, so things like that. Another thing I did while I was cutting, I make a music playlist. Some people like to use music stations. The problem I found with that is music stations don't always play songs we like. They play some songs, but not all. So let's say there's a song you really don't like, or your kid's in the background, and then what happens? You're trying to do your thing, your hand's covered in stuff, and your kid comes around the corner, and you want to stop the song because it's inappropriate, or you really hate it, whatever. So now you're deciding, do I stop my phone? Do I stop my music player? Covered in this. If you take and make your own playlist, you don't have to worry about it. So that's what I do. That's a little tip from me. And having a music playlist, in my opinion, also, you have your music and it helps the time go by. Like I said, I didn't even notice, and I was done. So when I put my potatoes in there, I take something and I cover it. For example, this paper plate fits decently over the bowl, helps keep in some of the steam, so the potatoes help steam themselves. and the moisture in there will help keep it down. If you have a self-covering lid, you know, that snaps in place, that's good too. You don't want to put it too tight in there because you don't want to create an explosion, because the steam can create an explosion in the microwave. Like I said, put it in there for 9 minutes. Take whatever you have in there, take it off, stir it thoroughly, and then we're going to put a little salt in there, not too much, and then we're going to come back to it. Okay, see you soon. Another tip I found for newbies is while you're waiting for things, clean as you go. Just makes your job easier, makes my life easier. So like, microwave's going, I'm gonna take care of my cutting board, so that way it's not all this stuff piling up on me. Man, I got 9 minutes, nothing to do. Gonna wash this, rinse it off, put it in the dishwasher. That way at the end it's just one thing less to do. Okay, see you later. Okay, so still waiting on the microwave to finish the second set of 9 minutes. Thought I'd go over the seasonings real quick. Gonna use black pepper. Now this right here, in case you're wondering, is a seasoning mix that I make. So it does have black pepper in it, but I use a little extra black pepper on the side because this is a baseline. This has black pepper, the red cayenne, it has celery salt, it has sea salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and a couple white pepper and paprika in it. So I use this as a baseline, and then I add extra to it. So I'm going to use a little extra black pepper on top of that. And in addition to that, I'm going to use a little extra kosher salt. Okay. Then I'm going to add some ranch and some mayonnaise to it. And then, like I said, we're also going to mix in the celery and onions. I'm not going to put any bacon in it today. But again, this is something that you can experiment with, and the seasonings are definitely something to experiment with. Always, in my opinion, go lighter. Start light, mix it in, taste it, and use tasting spoons. You know, you don't want to taste it and then put your spoon back in there, taste it, put your spoon back in there. Use tasting spoons or a tasting fork or something disposable or something you can wash off, because you don't want to fill the bowl with your saliva, especially if you're going to be giving to somebody that's not your family. Again, that's just a tip from me to you. But again, these are the things that I'm going to be using. And there's different types of salt to use. This is just kosher. There's sea salt. There's the regular iodized salt, which is good because a lot of Americans don't have enough iodine in their diet. This does not have iodine in it, so just kind of like enough Americans don't have vitamin D in their diet, so anytime they go to the doctor and they get their blood drawn, they get prescribed vitamin D. So here, that's why they started giving us vitamin D. They started giving us iodine in our salt, and they started putting fluoride in our water because it helps us. So again, if you have any questions about any of these, and I'm also going to add all these in the description below, so if you have any questions on one of the exact amounts, for example, on the celery, I took a whole package of celery. I cut off the tops, cut off the bottoms, and then I took out the little middle leafy parts, discarded that, rinsed it off real well, just cut it up. The onions, I peeled off the outside, cut off the top, cut off the bottom, and then cut off 1/4, diced it up. There was 1 bag of the red potatoes. Like I said, I left the skin on, cut them up and put them in there. Gonna go check on those. And for these, I'm gonna use this whole bottle, one little bottle of the Kraft mayonnaise. And again, whatever mayonnaise you like. And actually, some people prefer the salad dressing stuff. I can't remember what it's called. My wife likes it. I don't. I can't think of the name right now, but it's the other thing. Going to use the ranch dressing. They have the different types. They have chipotle. They have the bacon flavored, actually. And again, different types of salt, black pepper, like I said, and this is my baseline seasoning. So after I get the potatoes ready and I start mixing things, then I'll be back. So this is after the first time through. See, it's still really hard. So I'm just going to give it a good stir. Put it back in for another 9. Check it again. I'm going to make sure I stir it up as much as possible. Yeah, I can, even though you can't, yeah, it's still really crunchy. Okay, see you guys soon. I divided them into 3 bowls because it's way too big to go into one bowl. And that way, as they're ready to be served, we can just take a bowl out at a time. And see, as you look at them now, they're squishy. So, what I'm going to do is, so make sure everything's even, I'm going to mix all my stuff into here and divide it into 3, then mix those up. And I forgot that I also used parsley flakes. So, I forgot that before. So, I'm going to mix everything in and divide it in here, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay? So, here's the finished product.
Yeah, she's right there.
More about this, just hit me up. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share. Jesus bless you.